Disclaimer. This episode contains graphic descriptions of violence that may be disturbing to some listeners. Please be advised.
Hey there. I got you that time.
You always do that. I'm Taylor.
I'm Mandy.
I'm Amanda.
This is Pop, Crime, and Wine.
Welcome. Hello. Oh, wait, I said that already.
Shalom.
Are we doing sponsor right away?
Yeah, let's do sponsor.
Okay.
We gotta crack this wine open.
Or twist it open.
Is it a
Is
twist?
it a twist?
Is it a twist?
It looks like it is, but hold on. Let me
It
just
might not
figure
be.
it out. It's a weird
This week's
thing.
sponsor is one of our really good friends, Sarah Dempsey. She's like literally the sweetest human being that you've ever met in your entire life.
Literally.
Like a human form of sunshine.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
exactly what she is.
Yeah, she really is, though.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I cracked it not into the mic.
We've never done a twist off.
Well, what's funny is it's a twist off, but it's a very thick cap, so it doesn't look like a twist off.
Yeah, and I tried to twist it and it didn't move.
I'm very strong.
Apparently. I also have coffee hands.
Is that a thing?
It's gonna be.
This wine is called Clancy's, and it is a red blend, and it has a very cute label. It looks like a little postcard.
Yeah.
And we like to judge things by their covers,
That's kind of what we do.
like people.
We
Just
judge you
kidding.
by your cover.
We probably will only judge you if you actually turn out to be an asshole.
Yeah, I feel like we're really not that judgy.
We're not judgy. Nice pour.
Yes.
And if it wasn't, it would be a pour.
But ching.
I'll leave now.
That's really good. That was great.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. So thank you, Sarah. We appreciate
yes,
you.
thank you.
She's been so
Oh.
sweet, and she listens every week, and she knows what kind of wine we like, so I feel like this is going to be delicious.
TT's going to like this one.
It's
This is a little bit more tart, dry.
Yeah, I was gonna say more sour.
Oh. It reminds me of like an actual cherry, not like the sweet kind of cherry, but like
Like a bitter cherry.
yeah, bitter cherry.
Like the cherries with the seeds in them.
Yes, I like those.
I like maraschino cherries.
Oh, I hate
You mean
maraschino.
those are like candied cherries?
Yes.
They're so sweet. I can't do it.
So what crime do we have this week? I'm excited.
So-
You haven't let on at all, so I don't know.
Well,
I know.
We're gonna
Okay,
be so
so
surprised.
Well, only just because whenever I got here,
Wait.
she was like, "This is where I."
no, I
chose.
told her that too. That is from.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Sarah, our sponsor this week, is from Maryland, and so I decided to do a crime that took place in Maryland.
So you said Baltimore, Maryland earlier, and
Yeah.
I didn't know that Baltimore was in Maryland. And I fly into Baltimore for every single.
Where did you
layover.
think it was?
In the north.
So you were just like, oh, I have a layover in Baltimore,
Yeah,
and then that was the end of that.
Yeah, I knew that
You
it's
didn't think about it.
like I'm gonna have a layover in Baltimore in 3 days.
You're like it's in West Virginia somewhere.
I don't know. I guess I just knew that it was in the north.
I was born in Annapolis, Maryland, so I know. My brother was born in Baltimore, so I know. But that's probably the only reason.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I
You
felt
learn
real
something new
dumb.
every day.
You do, I feel like a lot of people say city names, and then I'm like, where is that exactly?
Yeah,
You don't really think about.
I know of the cities. If someone were to talk about the only reason I know Indianapolis is in Indiana is because it's in the name.
It's in the name, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Indiana City is what
Kansas
it's called.
City.
But there's a Kansas
Is
City
Missouri.
in
There
Missouri.
is, yeah,
and there's
you're
a
right.
Kansas City in Kansas.
That's confusing.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's not even get into that. All right.
There's a Nashville, Georgia. My
There's a
grandfather was
Nashville,
born
Indiana,
there. Really?
and there's a Nashville, Wisconsin.
What is this? Why are there so many
Because
Nashvilles?
people aren't creative or original when they come up with these names anymore.
Well, also,
But
were
they're
named,
already done.
Forever
But you know what?
ago.
These
All right. What were you
there
saying?
are there are new cities sometimes.
Sometimes.
we make new cities
Okay.
every day.
I'm going to take this back to the early 90s.
Ooh,
That's
yeah,
exciting.
bringing it back to the 90s.
Yep.
Ooh, this might be a 90s episode. Sneak peek.
Oh my gosh.
It's totally a 90s
This is
episode.
the 90s episode. I'm so
Oh,
excited.
I'm so excited. This worked out perfect.
I just
Mind
want to
blown.
share with our listeners that I am just as lost as y'all are because I have no idea what they're going to talk about later.
But now you can be even more
And
excited.
now I'm like, it's 90s related. I'm probably going to love it.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So I am going to talk about the original, quote unquote, the cannibal.
Ooh.
Okay. His name is Joe Roy Metheny.
Meth.
Yes.
Metheny.
Meth Annie.
Like
You got any
Bethany.
meth?
Annie.
Do you,
Annie?
I was
Get
going to say,
it?
do you got any meth? Because
Oh.
it's Meth Annie.
See, that
I
it's,
was
I
gonna
was thinking
say
more like
Annie
a
as a
woman
name,
named
yeah.
Annie who loves to do meth.
Meth Annie?
Oh, yeah. That here you
Meth
go.
Annie.
Or like rhymes with Bethany, like what you were
Mhm.
saying. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay, so back to the story.
All right. So in 1994, Joe Metheny, he was a truck driver. And so I'm not going to give a whole lot of background on him because it doesn't really matter because he's a murderous asshole. So he was a truck driver and he was on an overnight shift. He came home one night and he discovered that everything in his house was gone, including his 6-year-old son that he
Oh.
had with his wife.
You might need that.
Yep. He lost it.
I lost my child.
Lost my 6-year-old son.
Wait, did he have a wife at the time?
Okay, so this is one thing I think I am taking it out of context that she was his wife, but they actually never specified.
Okay, but
His-
he had like baby mama.
And
Yes.
she was supposed to be watching this child.
Well, yeah, they lived together.
Okay.
And then he came home. The
And everything was
mom
gone.
was gone. The
Including-
baby
All the
was
belongings
gone.
were gone.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was
Okay.
just thinking, like in my mind, I was like, he had a kid and he was like the sole person. And then
Yeah, and then
he
he
was
came
gone.
home.
No.
Okay, so he had baby mama,
Yes.
and kid disappeared.
So she decided that she was just going to up and leave him and take their son, and she did. And she ended up getting arrested later on or at least picked up for drugs and prostitution because she was living with this guy who was basically pimping her out for drug money because they were both drug addicts.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and I think it was heroin and crack and everything. So all the hard stuff.
And meth.
Meth,
Annie.
like meth.
Metheny, yeah. 6 months later, their son ended up being taken by social services, and because of Joe's previous criminal history, he had no way of getting custody of his son. So that was it. I mean, either he was in social services or he was with, a prostitute of a mother and drug addict. So he knew that his...
stayed with social services.
Yeah. So Joe knew that his wife was running around with like this certain group of druggies. Like he knew who they kind of were. This was kind of a smaller suburb, like a small area. It's just kind of run down. Like, so he already kind of had a hunch of who she was hanging out with when all this happened. And he was so angry. He decided he was going to go out and find these druggies.
Did he do drugs too?
It didn't say.
Okay.
But probably.
I mean, I would assume so, but also
I hate
he
to
was
assume things, but
yeah. It never said, so I'm not sure, but it never mentioned it in the articles that I read.
Okay.
So he went out and was looking for these guys, and he found 2 guys that he knew that she was running around with and doing drugs with under a bridge. And they were high as hell. They were passed out on this disgusting mattress, just probably what is it called? Tripped out on heroin.
Tripped out? I don't
yeah,
know.
you
That's
just
a thing.
well, yeah, what's the word you think?
What? Tripping out?
Not
I feel
on
like trip is
heroin.
more like
You trip is
hallucinogens.
like acid.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have my drug lingo down. I
what's-
wasn't aware there was certain criteria.
It's like you not doze out, but you like nod.
Doped out
you-
on heroin.
Yeah, maybe doped out.
that sounds good.
Doped sounds nice.
Yeah. Not that
we'll go
I
with
should
that.
know anything about hard drugs. I just hear about them from
Also, intervention.
family.
The show.
Oh, yeah, that. And I went through a phase where I was really obsessed with Shameless.
Oh yeah.
And I watched it, I watched the entire
My mom's
series of
currently
Shameless
watching it.
in like a month.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'm just picturing all of that happening with like being under a bridge and being
You're
like,
an
all doped
expert
out.
now.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
this
I
didn't
know
happen
things.
in Shameless, and you're gonna find out why. So he came in contact with these guys, and they were totally strung out.
Strung out.
Yeah.
Yeah, strung out's good.
I just had to say, like a song. You just got to start from the
That was
beginning,
real
and then
nice.
So he decided to kill them. He chopped them up with an axe or hatchet.
Oh,
That
Okay.
escalated
Both of them.
quickly.
Yeah.
He brought the hatchet with him, and he was just like,
Yeah,
just
he
in
was
case
out
I
like
need this.
knowing that he wanted to hurt these people.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So he was like, high on adrenaline, and he just killed
Probably
these
drugs.
guys, and he's angry, and he's like, his son got taken away and all this stuff. And that same night, he lured a prostitute below the same bridge and tried to get information about his wife's whereabouts, because she was arrested for drugs and prostitution, but she ended up getting let out. And he wanted to know where she was.
So he killed these other 2 random people.
He killed these 2 guys
That
under
she
the
had
bridge
been
because he knew that they
hanging
were
out
helping
with.
her like do drugs and like, support her prostitution and everything. So he was just angry. Mostly just this started because she took his son.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of this anger comes from. But then it turns into something completely different and not so like heroic in a way. You know what I mean?
Well, you called him the cannibal, so I can
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, it gets real bad. So he was questioning this prostitute about his wife's whereabouts, and she claimed not to know anything. So he ended up just beating the shit out of her. He raped her, and then he killed her as well. He dumped her body in some bushes nearby, and then he went out and looking for another girl, another prostitute. Found one, same thing.
No.
All in one night?
This was all like, yes, in a day. This was in 24 hours. This was in like
And he
a
had
couple
never
hours
killed
time.
anyone before
No.
this. This is just
This is first.
4 out
Yep.
in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Okay.
4 out in like a couple hours. I can only
That's
imagine how
crazy.
much we keep going.
There's more. And so he tried dumping her body in the same bushes nearby, and he saw that this guy was fishing at this river nearby, and he figured that this guy had seen him. And he's like, well, now I have to kill him. And so he finds this pipe that's just laying in with a bunch of trash, and he goes and just, caves this guy's head in on the bank of this river where he was just fishing, minding his own business. And he was like, well, this is too much to just like haul away into some bushes or whatever. So he decides to bring the other 2 girls' bodies out, and he weighs all the bodies down with rocks and throws them in the river.
How do you weigh a body down with rocks? You like
Like,
put them
in
in
a
their
bag?
like pockets or
Oh.
I'm sure he figured out a way.
okay.
I know like the whole like mob thing was like to literally cut them open and like put rocks inside of them.
Really?
Yeah.
I also feel like a lot of times they like in the TV shows what they do.
Yeah.
They just did this on the Seinfeld episode I watched. I know everything from all the TV shows that I watch in case anyone wanted to know how I get so smart.
Pop culture extraordinaire.
But they like tied cinder blocks to him.
Yeah,
Like,
to their
cut 'em
feet.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
that was, like, to
scarier
kill them.
think. It's scary to think of the rocks being inside their body, though. If you
Yeah.
like, really,
Is it bad that that's the first thing I thought of when she said that he weighed their bodies down with rocks? I was like picturing someone like put rocks down like a
Well,
mouth.
That's not weird.
I feel like
well, it is a little weird. I was picturing cinder block tied to their feet.
But I
you
guess
know?
I just was
Or, like,
thinking
put
about
in
like he didn't
bags.
think about this ahead of time, so
Yeah.
he wasn't like prepared. So I was trying to figure out how you would do it if you weren't prepared.
Yeah. Don't think of those things. Okay.
Moving on. So
We don't need help. It's fine.
It's fine. We listen to podcasts. We get all the therapy we need. So he cleaned himself up in the river that he just dumped these bodies into because he wanted to clean up all the blood off of him. He went home and just kind of went on with his life for like 2.5 weeks. And then he was found for murder of the 2 guys under the bridge because he didn't do anything with their bodies. He left them chopped up, just chilling.
Yeah.
So somebody found them and connected him to their bodies. Joe spent 18 months in Baltimore City Jail. He was awaiting trial, but the trial only lasted 1 week, and then it was thrown out for lack of evidence. So then he was freed.
Oh.
So he killed 5 people in one night, and then like they were like
He was only arrested for
For the 2.
but
and
they
then
couldn't.
they didn't
They
have
literally
enough,
couldn't prove it.
Yeah, evidence, so they let him out.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he was freed. He went to work for this pallet company that I guess he had worked for previously, and he just asked his boss to take him back kind of thing. Because I guess, who's going to hire a felon?
Yeah.
But he wasn't convicted.
No. He does have a previous criminal record that
yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
But he didn't murder.
He didn't murder anybody. No, none of it was for homicide. And so this pallet company had this little trailer on the property that was, I think, I guess just like for business stuff. I see those like construction trailers and stuff. That's what I was picturing. And so he just asked his boss if he could stay there, and keep an eye on the building, and because he didn't have a place to live right now. And so his boss agreed and just gave him the keys to the front gate of this building that had like a 6-foot tall wire fence with barbed wire around it and everything. Like it was, a pretty secure location. So he got the trailer knowing that he was going to do the same thing that he did with those other girls. Because at this point, he liked it. He liked killing women. And so he got 2 more prostitutes back to his trailer. And he killed them, and he ended up butchering up their bodies. And he actually wrote out a confession later on while he was in prison, because obviously he goes to prison. But he wrote out, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. I have little clips of it, but I think you should go read it if you're into really creepy stuff. Joseph Roy Metheny.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I'll never forget.
I know, Metheny. Okay, he said in his confession later, quote, I cut the meat up and put it in some Tupperware bowls, then put it in the freezer, unquote. He then buried the rest of the remains, like the rest of the body, in a shallow grave in the little patch of woods behind the company. So he just had like parts of body just chilling in his freezer. And then his next idea was to open a meat stand.
No. The fact that he called it the meat.
Yeah.
Is what bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is going to make me not ever want to go anywhere that serves, like, I want to go to a meat
and,
stand.
Oh my God. Yes. That brings me to like the last part of it, and I'll tell you why.
It's like fried green tomatoes all over again.
You keep bringing it up, but I haven't seen that movie. So I guess we have to watch it, though, because it sounds interesting.
Yeah. We'll have to have a little like fucked up movie night.
Yep.
Starting with fried green tomatoes.
It's so good, though. It's a Southern classic. Just like fried green tomatoes
It's a
are.
classic. Nobody knows what that's from. Okay. So he opened up this little like open pit barbecue stand, I guess is what they called it, where they like smoke meats right there and like make sandwiches and stuff. So he had roast beef and pork sandwiches on the menu. Mm-hmm. What he didn't tell people was that he mixed in the human flesh with the pork, because he said you couldn't tell a difference.
No. Okay, I have one question. Did he eat them first before he was like, oh, I'm just going to try this out?
I'm sure.
Like, because can you imagine just being like, oh, let me just serve people human and not try it first? Ew. I can't even, like, say it.
She's gonna like test out his recipes.
If he knew that it would fit in with like the pork and people wouldn't know the difference, he must have tried it.
He got some kind of satisfaction out of serving it to people.
Ugh.
Anyway, without them knowing, obviously. He eventually ran out because, he only had a certain amount of human remains. So he decided that he needed another body. So he did the same thing, hired this prostitute to come to his trailer, still lived at the same place. Immediately when she got there, he ripped all her clothes off and started to beat her up. She screamed, but obviously this was like a really rural, isolated part on a dead-end road, like nobody could hear her. There was no chance, and he laughed. He said in his confession that he laughed at her. He turned around just for a second, and she ended up running. She sprinted to the door and got out. He couldn't catch her, and it was an 8-foot tall chain link fence with barbed wire on top of it.
Oh, never go in there.
And no, this was to get out. This was like
I know, but she had to have passed it to get into his trailer.
Yeah.
If you walk in and you're like, okay, I have to pass this fence with barbed wire on it. Oh,
And then there was some
a
like
prostitute.
Yeah,
I'm sure she was just like, I
working.
need the money.
There were some like wooden pallets because that's what the company was for. And so she like scaled these wooden pallets, clawed her way up, jumped over the barbed wire chain link fence.
Yeah.
And she was like ass naked. And she ran to this pickup truck that was on the main road nearby, and she got in. And so this guy took her to the nearest gas station, and they ended up calling the police.
Yeah.
And so Joe was just, Joe Metheny was just sitting in his trailer knowing that the cops were going to come. And he just like calmly was like, I'm not going to run. So he packed up all her clothes and her purse and everything. And he was, I don't know if he was just going to go dispose of her belongings, but he was just like getting his keys to the front gate to his truck, like just meandering. And as soon as he got to his truck, the cops showed up and arrested him.
But just for battery, right?
Well, yeah, and for battery, and then like attempted or a robbery, and then maybe attempted homicide. They couldn't prove that. I think later on in the testimony or in the trials that I read, they couldn't, of all things, put him, or they couldn't get him for robbery. They got him for like attempted rape or attempted homicide of her. Anyway. So he got arrested, and so this is his quote at the end. Well, I knew the cops were on the way, but I didn't run. I gathered up her clothing, grabbed the keys to the gate, and went out and opened it. As soon as I stepped out the gate, a cop car pulled up, and the cop jumped out and pulled his gun on me and told me to get on the ground. And that's where it all came to an end. Unquote.
So did he then tell them all the things that he did? Because they wouldn't necessarily know that.
So he immediately confessed against his lawyer's recommendation to all this shit. And basically he wanted to die in prison.
Well, I'm sure that he like had to have had a conscience. Like,
I don't know.
If he, well, the
something
fact that
broke in his brain.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he admitted to it without them even knowing that he was like doing
that's not
these
necessarily
things.
a conscience. He like wanted to get caught because he was just like done with life, probably.
There
like,
was
he was
record
like,
about the other homicides that he was almost convicted of, but then it was thrown out. So like those are still there, and then he does this, and it's like then they started connecting everything. At the time, he was sentenced to serve life without parole for the murder of Kimberly Spicer in 1996 and 50 years for an attempted sex offense and the kidnapping of Rita Kemper. So she was the last one. It was kidnapping.
Kemper, yeah.
Yeah, 1996. The case was moved from Baltimore to the county. Yeah, to the county, where he pled guilty to murder and robbery. And then this is what he said in court as well. He was begging the jury for the death penalty at this point. And he said, quote, "The words, 'I'm sorry,' will never come out, for they would be a lie. I am more than willing to give up my life for what I've done, to have God judge me and send me to hell for eternity." He later said he killed because he enjoyed it. And the jury deliberated for only a little more than 2 hours before sentencing him. And then he was sentenced to death, and then it was overturned in 2000, and so he's serving life. He's still there.
That's so weird, like serving up human parts to people.
His own mother
people,
said that they did the right thing by sentencing. God, I can't say that word.
By
putting him in prison for life.
Yes.
Wow.
His own mom.
Well, you know what? I think when you kill like multiple people and you're feeding human beings to other human beings without their knowledge, you should probably spend the rest of your life in jail.
I feel like that's a hot Like
that's a hot yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so much. It was just like so much like passion killing and like, cutting somebody up and like serving them to people. Like that's just, it's so much in such a little time. He did this, not that long a time.
I wonder what his son thinks now.
Oh yeah. I did this for you.
Oh God. Therapy for life.
I want to know like if he tried to eat the ones before too.
It didn't seem like it. The ones during
he just decided later. He was like, "Whoa, this sounds good to eat." I guess I just don't understand like how you just decide to eat a human.
You know what though? That's good. Because if you understood it, I would be worried.
It'd be a little
Have
scary.
you ever thought about the things that people say like with babies? It's like, oh, I just want to eat you up, or I just want to bite them, or
I just want to bite
I
your
just
little
wanna
legs,
squeeze you to
death.
I say that all the time.
Yeah, like the things.
To Chuck.
Yes.
The more we learn about like murder, the more I hear those things, and I'm like, oh my god,
But would you?
Like, are you really gonna like eat them? Like, why would you say that to someone?
Why would you say that?
That's so wrong.
God. So anyway, there's a nice little Maryland murder.
Yeah,
There's a good start. And that's funny that it ties in being the same time period as ours.
yeah.
Yeah,
That is
so what?
funny.
Tell
So
me what we're going to talk
funny.
about from the 90s, please.
This week, we are talking about Saved by the Bell and where those actors who played our favorite characters are today and what troubles and trials and tribulations they've been through.
Yeah, so this is the 25th year of it ending, the anniversary of it. And really quick, can I just start with something that I found about the show? Just to like kind of like overview it for those of you listening that you should already know everything about Saved by the Bell, but just in case you don't.
I got really nervous.
What do
Why?
you mean?
Do you not watch it?
Have you never seen it? Wait,
I don't know if we can be friends.
That's actually very strange, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah. Like never? Not even one episode?
I cannot remember a single time that I've watched.
Do you know the characters, though?
I know the one guy.
Zach Morris,
No,
Kelly Kapowski,
no,
She's not a dude.
AC Slater,
no,
Screech.
no.
Those are the three guys.
Those are the dudes. So.
I thought there was oh no, not their show names. I don't know the show names. The actors' names.
Mark Paul Gosselaar.
No.
Dustin Diamond.
No.
Mario Lopez.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's the only one because I saw on like SNL they did a what is it called? When they all come back and like they wore the same outfits and stuff.
they
They
did
did
that
that
on
on
Jimmy
Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
I thought it was SNL.
I'm still getting over the fact that I feel like our listeners are judging you real hard.
Yeah,
right
because
now.
we
fine.
are for sure.
It's fine.
I haven't even drank a lot of this wine yet,
Send
and I'm
us
totally
send us
judging.
hate mail, guys.
Please.
You guys are rude.
You have never seen Saved by the Bell.
It's weird.
You guys haven't seen Beverly Hillbillies.
Yes,
Yes,
I
I
have.
All of it on DVD. I have them on my shelf right now. How much of Bonanza have you seen?
Quite
Like
a bit.
episodes.
You're lying
No.
through your teeth. Through your teeth.
This is a staple.
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot believe this, but
Just
you know
so
what?
all
Our
of you guys
listeners.
Sorry, I
know.
was outside.
Dear listeners, we will educate our Mandy about
Yeah.
this wonderful show.
I don't like this
I'm
episode
ashamed.
anymore.
I'm so
So
ashamed.
ashamed. She also didn't grow up with TV. She's from the wilderness. It's fine.
We had 7 channels and 2 of them were
This is
almost
definitely
not
on-
there.
This
They
is
were
on
ju-
one of those
like,
channels
yeah,
for
but
sure.
I don't think that she like, because I watched it reruns on MTV.
We didn't have
growing up.
MTV.
No, I'm saying
They were
it
on
was
NBC.
NBC, but like I never watched it whenever it was on TV. Like I watched it later on.
Yeah.
Because it would come on at 7:00 in the morning, and I would watch it like getting ready
Before
for school.
school, yeah.
Yeah, no.
No, the reruns would like the regular
When did
show
the
was like
regular one
prime
come on?
time on NBC. It was a big show.
NBC, yeah.
Well,
You would.
my
get that
dad
channel.
probably had control of the television at that point.
Your dad was
Anyway.
watching this without you, probably.
Probably.
No, he
Okay,
was
so
watching
the show was originally titled "Good Morning, Miss Bliss."
I saw that and I did not
I
know
didn't
that.
know
And it
that.
was on the Disney Channel.
Yeah, it focused on a group as middle school students, and it aired on the Disney Channel in 1988. The show was produced by NBC and became the first program to be produced by a major network for cable TV. After one season, it was renamed Saved by the Bell, and NBC began airing the show until its December 1992 finale. that episode was re-aired in primetime on May 22nd, 1993 as a lead-in to Saved by the Bell, the college years.
college years. Those were so good.
Did you
So
know that
this-
there's another spinoff? Sorry.
So this didn't even air like when you guys would have been watching it.
Right. I definitely watched
Yeah.
it
Because you
not
were like
while
a
it
year
was
old.
actually airing.
It ended
Right.
like before you were even born.
But it is one of those staples. It was literally on 70 different channels at, yay time every day.
Yeah.
Like you come home from school and it's on and you're like, oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Watch
I've seen
this.
every but I didn't know that there was a second
There's a
spinoff.
Hawaiian wedding one.
No, it's Vegas Wedding.
Oh, Vegas wedding.
Yeah.
But they go to Hawaii. When was that? Was that during college years?
Maybe. I think that there's and then during the college years, they also go and work at a golf club.
What
and
was it?
that was when Leah, the one from King of Queens was
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Um,
No, that's when they went to Hawaii.
okay.
Yeah, because she was like, I always picture her in her little like hula skirt and stuff.
Yeah, and they worked on like a golf thing.
Yeah, I think it was
Or
like
like a
a
country
a
club.
country club, but
Yeah.
it was on the sand, so they had like beach volleyball and stuff all
Yeah.
the time. Okay.
So they had the college years, and then there's another show spinoff called Saved by the Bell: The New Class, which
Oh.
ran for 7 seasons on NBC. And
New people or different people?
featured a new troupe of characters as well as some returning favorites.
Was it terrible?
I don't know. I never even knew about it
Maybe
until
we
I
should
researched
watch it.
this.
I would totally watch that.
And then in 1994, the original cast was reunited for the TV movie Saved by the Bell: Wedding in Las Vegas, which,
yeah.
spoiler alert, Zach and Kelly Kapowski. Zach Morris, Kelly Kapowski. Married.
Together forever.
Forever.
Forever, ever.
Forever, ever. Forever, ever.
Is this
Stick with the
forever?
90s. Is this going to last forever?
Is this real life?
So I didn't know that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting.
So since we decided to do this, Taylor and I both picked 3 of the characters on who we were going to focus on. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. I thought I would start with the most controversial of my 3, which is Lisa Turtle.
Yes.
She's a little if you haven't seen her these days, you wouldn't recognize her.
I don't know anything about her anymore.
Oh
gonna
man, it's
Google her right
crazy.
now.
Yeah, Google her. Her
How do
real
you say her
name,
name?
is Lark Voorhees.
Yeah.
But that's actually not her name she was born with. She was born with Lark Holloway, which I think is a more beautiful name.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Why would she
recognize
change that?
Voorhees.
Voorhees.
her. Oh, she doesn't look anything like herself.
No, there's something going on with her face. Although she did,
Oh.
yeah.
All of their faces look.
That's not true though, because I watched that Jimmy Fallon
Yeah.
thing, and first off, Mario Lopez looks exactly the same as
Yes.
he did. He
And so does.
he took an elixir of some sort.
Oh, I want to find out. And he's so sexy. I think he's sexy.
Mario.
Also, Mark Gosselaar.
Yeah, Mark Paul
Yeah,
Gosselaar.
he looks exactly
He
the
looks
same.
good, yeah.
But
he
all
normally
3
has
of the
dark
women
hair.
look totally different. Tiffany Thiessen, I think that I think she had something done.
Well, we'll get into her.
Okay.
First, we're starting off with Lisa
Okay,
Turtle.
sorry.
Okay. So she was
looking at
actually
pictures.
born in Nashville. I didn't know that.
Oh.
Yes. And she, since Saved by the Bell ended, she's been on Days of Our Lives, The Bold and the Beautiful, and she was released from that contract in 96 because she refused to be in a sex scene based on her religious views, which she's
Which is
very, she's out in the open, like all 100% Jehovah's Witness, like
Oh,
she won't
no.
do any of the scenes. So that she wasn't in that any longer after 1996. But she did guest star in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Family Matters.
She was on Family Matters?
Yeah, she was like Eddie's upstairs dream girl.
Oh.
And then she was in Fresh Prince. But she's literally only had 2 credits since 2008 and none after 2012. So she's kind of like gone into the dark
I think it's cool that she like stood up for what she believed and like lost a role for it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's cool.
So she did not end up appearing in the Jimmy Fallon reunion that they did, which I think they did ask her, though they didn't ask Screech.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But she said that she had a pretty busy schedule, and
I'm too busy to make myself famous.
Yeah,
again.
well, she did have a few things going. She was a part of a band originally it was called X Girls, but now it's Geneva. And guess who else is in that band with her? Stacy and Yashi Brown, which are daughters of the oldest Jackson, Rebby Jackson.
Oh, like the Blues?
Like the Jackson
like
5?
the Jackson 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, I talk about Michael Jackson later too.
Do you?
Well, kind of a little bit.
They must all have ties to
Yeah,
the Jackson
weird.
family.
I wonder why.
She appeared in a Boys to Men music video called On Bended Knee.
Oh!
I remember her being in that because it was
you?
during
I don't know
the
who
time,
that is, but I know the song.
So it was during the time that Saved by the Bell came out, and she was still like famous, I'm pretty sure, right? And she was like the love girl, because Mandy, since you don't know, Saved by the Bell, Screech was like obsessed with Lisa Turtle. Like he loved her so much.
Screech is a boy.
Yes. And he was like the nerdy guy. And Lisa was the like rich, beautiful girl.
The brunette.
No, she's the African American girl.
Oh, I thought
Also
that was Lisa
brunette.
Turtle.
I just said
We're
Lisa
still
Turtle.
talking about Lisa Turtle.
Okay.
But I'm saying
following.
like who she like, so he was like obsessed with her.
Okay.
And I think that's why they used her in the On Bended Knee.
Really?
Because she was like the heartthrob.
Yeah.
And I remember like I can picture the video right now. That's so crazy. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. And well, so during the show, Zach Morris, Mark Paul Gosselaar, dated Lisa Turtle
In real life?
in real life.
Oh.
He actually, we'll get to it, but I'll tell you now, he dated all three of the women, all three of the
course he
girls
did.
at some point during the show, which is funny because, well, I guess it lasted far past the first,
Yeah.
seasons. Okay. But she actually got into writing after that, and she has 3 books that are out: Reciprocity, Trek of Cheshire, and A True Light. Yeah.
Her deep
Her love life,
names.
like I said, during the show, she dated Mark Paul Gosselaar. Afterwards, she was engaged to Martin Lawrence.
What?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Blue Streak?
No.
Oh, it was really good. We should watch that. But they called it off in 1994. And then she got married, and then she got divorced, and then she got married, and then she got divorced. And the National Enquirer lately has been saying that she's like strung out on drugs, and so she sued them. But in 2007, she was diagnosed with lupus. And so that's what she says is like what's going on with her face.
Yeah.
Although it looks so like
Makeup.
it looks like cosmetic surgery gone bad, honestly.
Do you think it was like the whole Carrie Underwood fell down the stairs
Yeah.
thing?
Oh, yeah. She fell down the stairs.
But really, she probably had like a botched job.
Yep. I do think that. But she says it's lupus, so maybe it is.
No.
And her mother says she suffers from bipolar disorder as well. She probably doesn't have like the easiest life.
Yeah.
She did an interview with People magazine, and they said that she would stop mid-sentence and just like stare off into space and start rambling to herself or talking like she was talking to someone that wasn't there.
What?
Yeah, and so that's why people came out and started saying she was on drugs and all this other stuff. But I did look up how much all these people are worth, like their net worth, and hers is $500,000, which you would think it would be more with
Not
like
too shabby.
with what she would be making
She
with
only-
all the reruns.
yeah.
That's not enough.
That's not a lot of money.
And if you look over, like, I'll tell you how much
is
the
to
other
me.
the other people are worth.
Did you look up mine too? Because I didn't look those up. I can look them up now. Okay. Yeah. I'll do
I
that
can look.
real quick.
You go onto your
okay.
person, and I'll look up.
Well, since you started with a controversy, I'm going to start with a normal person.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about Mario Lopez, who was beautiful AC Slater. And I had such a crush on him. And So Slater was always known for like his biceps and his hair.
Right, his curly, like
his
he had,
curly
like,
mullet.
yeah,
Basically. And he said, I liked my hair long because I wanted to look like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon.
Oh my God.
And I thought that was so funny. And he was like, I didn't even know I had a mullet. Like, how do you not know? But I don't know. I thought that was really funny that he wanted to look like Mel Gibson.
that's really funny.
So AC Slater / Mario Lopez, he did continue on Saved by the Bell the college years after the series ended, or the original series ended, and he has found success as the face of Extra. He's
The gum?
no like the TV channel.
Oh,
He's on Extra Gum. Like not the Double Mint twins. He's like, Extra, the TV series or channel or whatever it is. He's been on there since 2008. He's hosted 3 seasons of the X Factor, America's Best Next Dance Crew, and the 2007, 2009, and 2010 Miss America pageants.
nice.
He's also appeared on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh yeah, he did well. Didn't
He did. He didn't win.
He didn't win, but he should have.
He did really well. I remember that. In 2008, he wrote a fitness book entitled Mario Lopez Knockout Fitness, as well as the New York Times bestseller Extra Lean.
He should write a book called How I Look Like I'm Still 16 Years Old.
He should. This is how I stay young. Maybe it's all about his like knockout fitness.
Could be.
He also wrote a children's book called Mario and Baby Gia. He took the Broadway stage in 2008, starring in A Chorus Line. I had no idea. I thought that was really cool.
That's funny. More than one person from Saved by the Bell has been in like
Broadway?
Is it on Broadway or off Broadway?
On Broadway.
Oh, well, there's another one who's off Broadway.
That's still super
Yeah.
cool.
Very cool.
I didn't know he sang.
Huh?
What?
I didn't know he sang.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
just knew that he was beautiful and he could dance. I didn't know that he could sing.
I want to count how many times Amanda says that in this episode.
Every time I see him on TV, I say how beautiful he is. I think it's because he aged so well too, and he was like a heartthrob when you were younger, and then like he's still like not very many people do that, and I think that's why I still
rare.
think he's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
So he's worth the most.
Really? So real quick, and then I just have a little bit more about him. He married a Broadway dancer, Courtney Mazza, in 2012. So I didn't find if they met each other
On
in,
Broadway?
like a chorus
That'd be
line or
cute.
not, but they got married 4 years later, so probably. They have 2 children together, Gia, who is 8, which he wrote a book about, and Dominic, who's 5. And he also came back on the Tonight Show and like revived his role.
Yeah.
So how much is he worth?
He's worth 16 million,
Yes, that makes
which
more sense.
sounds more like what I was picturing, because they make
Yeah.
money every time that show plays.
And it's
like-
been like it's not one that they've ever taken off air. Like
Yeah.
it's like the Golden Girls. Like you
Yeah.
can almost always
Yeah.
find it on TV.
Are we ready for the next?
Yeah.
All right. So now Zach Morris, which is who I was kind of more like heartthrobby. Although now looking back at it, there's apparently a whole website dedicated to what an asshole he was.
Really?
Yeah, it's like Zach Morris is trash.
Yes, I've watched videos about this.
And it's like he's
They're
actually
hilarious.
a terrible person. Like all the things that he did to his friends.
He was so mean to this like girl who was heavier on the show. Like I watched, there's like all these YouTube videos about Zach Morris's
Yeah, it's
trash,
trash.
and I've seen them on Facebook, and
Well-
I've watched a few of them. But like, if you think about today, these shows are not politically correct.
No, not at all.
Like they would not be able to be like aired nowadays. Like everybody would be offended and everybody would be mad, which is kind of why I think it's so funny
Yeah.
still. I guess I don't know.
It's I
And-
mean, it's still a good show. I
Yeah.
watched part of it today when I was researching, and I was like, yeah, it's still funny.
It's still fun.
good.
Yeah. But he, yeah, they have all these things. Like one of them, he like calls this girl really fat and like is so mean to her to where like she like has a breakdown, and then finally he's like, oh, she's not like, it's not about what she
She's a
looks
real
like. She's a good
person.
yeah. But I think that's what they made him out to be. Like, they made him like a villain to where he could like learn life. I don't know the word.
Yeah, learn life.
Crush on?
Yeah. Zach Morris.
With his big telephone.
With his
I
like
wish- there's
bleached
so many
hair
pictures
and his
of-
huge telephone.
yeah.
His phone.
He was such a heartthrob, though.
He really
he was
was.
definitely like, you know how everyone says like the girl next door? He was
He
like
was the guy next
the
door.
guy that everybody wants. Yeah.
Okay.
So in real life, his name is Mark Paul Gosselaar, which is funny because it's Mark dash Paul, like it's one
Mark
name
Paul.
almost. Mark Paul. But his
parents
dad,
couldn't decide on which
one? Yeah,
which
they're
one
like,
to name him after.
let's just
which
name him
disciple
both.
to name him after. They're like, let's just go with Mark Paul.
His dad is from the Netherlands and his mom is from Indonesia. Strangely
Really?
enough, so he's like a very
He's a mixed bag
Wow.
there.
yeah, he's definitely a grab bag. So after Saved by the Bell, in which he dated all three of the female co-stars, he ended up playing this guy who date rapes his best friend's sister called She Cried No.
Oh God.
What?
And then he was in Dead Man on Campus. Did you guys see that? The movie?
No.
It was pretty
I
good.
haven't heard of that.
And then he was in NYPD Blue.
I knew that. And
That
he
was
has
a
like
good
brown
one.
hair now.
Yeah, he's got, so apparently his hair is naturally brown. They made him dye his hair blonde before every time they filmed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Surprised it didn't fall out.
I know, right?
Well, it's kind of like Riverdale. But they do a terrible job of making Archie
Almost
have
on
red
purpose,
hair.
right?
I don't know. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
So at least with Zach Morris, you think
It
that
looked
he's
real.
blonde. Yeah.
He was then in Raising the Bar, and then my favorite, Franklin and Bash. Did you guys ever watch that?
I didn't.
Oh,
No.
it was so good.
But I remember the commercials.
So out of the
for-
loop on this episode. It's unreal.
I can feel the seclusion over in your
Yeah,
corner,
I
but
do
I'd
too.
like you to
Chuck's
even
with
say she's watched it with me.
She
before.
has
She
not.
has definitely
Chuck's like,
Chuck the
I love
dog
Saved by the Bell.
watches Saved by
See,
the
she
Bell
doesn't
with
even
me
know what it's
every
called.
morning. She calls it Saved by the Bone.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, but then he was in an off-Broadway show called The Understudy.
Mm.
Yeah. So in 1996, he married a model named Lisa Ann Russell, and they had 2 kids, and then they got divorced. Which I feel like all of the people that I talk about get divorces and have crazy love lives after the show. Which I assume as a child actor, it might like ruin the way you are.
Yeah.
Do we feel that way?
Yes.
I mean, we could go on a whole episode about
Yeah.
Other than
actors.
one exception,
What's that?
who I have noticed has never really gotten into like drama or anything, Hilary Duff.
Oh, I love
She has led such, and she's just like all about her, like she's just all about like women power, and she's like,
Yeah.
I can look how I want to look, like I have babies, my body's beautiful.
Oh yeah,
my
those
husband's
people who were
amazing.
talking about
Yes.
her
Cellulite.
and she's like, "What the fuck? I've had babies. You
Yeah.
can't." I mean, I am what I am.
love
Yeah.
her. I love the show Younger.
I
that
love
she's
the show
in.
Younger.
She's just always been great.
The only thing that I remember ever being negative about her was when she got her veneers and they were like too big.
like horsey.
Yeah,
But
then
she
got
also
them, like trimmed
Dated
down
that
and
one
more.
guy from.
They got married from.
Oh, are they married now?
No, they got married. I think they had like a kid together.
Yeah,
The one-
Benny or
No, what? Not Green Day. What was it? Weren't
Billy
they
Joel?
no,
Billy Joel?
Yeah, from Green Day.
No, it wasn't Green Day. It was.
It was the rich, or they have that
They
song
get
about
rich
like
and die famous or whatever.
yeah.
Fall Out Boy?
No.
No.
I'm so mad at myself
Oh,
right now. I have like all of their albums.
It's at the
Who
tip of my
am I?
tongue.
I'm lost.
Lifestyles of the rich and the famous.
Yes.
Oh.
Always complaining. Always complaining. You know?
I do,
And
actually. I know-
money
It's
is
such
a
a
problem.
Ah. I'm gonna blame this on the wine. I'm gonna 100% blame this on the wine.
Blame it on the alcohol.
Good Charlotte.
Good Charlotte. Damn it.
Yeah.
All
So
I
did-
could think of was Fall Out Boy, but that's also because I'm
Yeah.
watching One Tree Hill. I'm gonna just say.
But
that.
isn't it? What's his name?
It's got a
Joel?
It might
Well,
be
there's
Joel.
two
I
brothers.
thought it was Billy Joel.
It was not Billy Joel. Billy Joel is a singer.
I thought his name, the name from the guy from.
No, his name is Joel, and he has a brother in Good Charlotte
named
as well.
Benny or something.
And
Okay, Benji Madden and
Benji.
Joel
Benji.
Madden.
yes, and one married Ashley
And one married-
Simpson, and one married Hillary Duff.
No, didn't one marry Nicole Richie?
Maybe
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
we're
Okay.
totally wrong. On
We're
all of
off
these
on a
things.
tangent
Yeah.
now, and I'm
Anyway,
gonna
Saved by the
reel
Bell.
it back in. So he married. They had 2 kids, and then they divorced in 2011. He ended up remarrying the next year to an advertising executive. And they had another son and another daughter. I really couldn't find anything like gossipy about him. He's just really into fitness. He loves his family, and now he is a sports car enthusiast. He's a race car driver. He's a track cyclist, and he is a pilot.
I think my only thing is that I'm mad that he didn't marry Tiffany Amber.
I
Thiessen.
know, me too.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah,
You're like, yeah, that's how
Me
I feel
That's
too.
exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, but he's worth $9 million.
Okay, but I mean, he's
So
still
he's-
on TV too.
He's
just
still
like,
on TV.
Yeah,
yes.
just like AC Slater is.
Yep.
Mario Lopez.
But not in too terribly much.
Was
I
he
mean,
on
all
Blue
of
Bloods?
those, no.
Okay,
And NYPD Blue.
I guess that's why. I
But
just kept
those
thinking Blue
all
Bloods.
ended. I do think he's in a TV show now, because there's this video going around about how there's this kid actor who's in his show now who doesn't know who Zach Morris is, which is like Mandy.
Yeah.
And there's like this whole video of him like,
Oh, that's so
talking
funny.
about it.
I'm trying to find where, because I thought I just saw a picture of him recently.
Okay, so my next one is Elizabeth Berkley, who played Jessie Spano.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted
I'm
to.
so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
excited.
I'm so scared.
It's the best. So good.
We should show Mandy that video just to get her reaction
Yes, we should.
on podcast.
Not right now. Can wait.
No, we just
Nope.
need to do it. Right
No.
Okay, so
Tell me about these people I don't know.
Wait.
All right.
Pills? You mean you really are taking drugs? I need them. Jesse, give me those.
I need them back. I have to sing.
Jesse, you can't sing tonight.
Yes, I can. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Jesse.
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 What the hell was that?
I'm so excited.
I'm so scared. I don't understand yet.
We're gonna have to like have a
Jesse.
marathon. So good.
As long as then we can have a marathon of Beverly Hillbillies right after.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So we're not going to do that.
I've seen Beverly Hillbillies. You
Not
haven't
all of it.
seen this. Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
My dad used to watch it all the time. That
You've
was
seen
all
every
we were
episode.
watching. I've seen every episode.
Okay, then you're going to love having a little rerun of it.
We're talking
Okay,
about
that's Andy Griffith. Okay. Yeah, she's seen every episode of Beverly Hillbillies ever.
This is the one with the rocking
including
chairs on
the intro.
back of the truck, right?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
What?
Nothing. We should just
At
talk
least
about
I
your
know.
show.
Okay.
Okay, so
Jessie Spano.
Jessie Spano, she was addicted to
Acetaminophen?
some kind.
That's like
no,
ibuprofen?
that's like
Tylenol.
yeah. It was. Oh, I can't even think of the word.
Do you have the word up in front of you?
No, maybe. Well, it just says caffeine pills, but they like said something
like
else
speed?
in like normal. Yeah. So that episode that we just showed you is when she is like addicted to those caffeine pills, and she like goes crazy because Jessie is the like straight A student who like does everything right.
I
and
could
is,
tell
like,
all that just from that scene. Honest to God.
That's hilarious. So she was like the do-good girl, which is why I loved the movie that she was in right after this.
Yes.
So she was in a like basically a rated like X movie.
What?
Well, it's the NC-17, so it's basically like rated X.
This is the best movie, actually.
It's a cult classic called Showgirls. Have you ever seen it? Okay, we're gonna watch
It's
that
really
after
good.
we
We
watch Saved
actually
by the Bell.
should definitely
Actually, can we watch that first though?
Before.
Because I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mandy would
Mandy's-
love it. She's making a face right now like she is not
she's
interested. But she really enjoys 90 Day Fiancé and The Bachelorette, so I wouldn't put it past her.
Well, Showgirls was one of my favorite movies. I loved watching it because she was like a stripper. And so she went from being this like perfect do-good, like straight A student in Saved by the Bell, which was all I ever knew her as. And then all of a sudden she's a stripper in this like super like intense
But
movie.
that's how it goes in real life.
Which is why it's so great.
Yeah.
So I did find a quote from her that she talked about her hair in the show. And she was like, well, first she says, Jessie Spano, the I'm So Excited episode was so extreme. And the hair, she said, I practically went through a can of hairspray a show. 'Cause she had really big, curly, like huge hair, which is like great. I loved it. And she and AC Slater always had like a thing together. They dated sometimes. They didn't date sometimes.
I wonder if they dated in real life.
I wonder. I didn't find anything about that.
Dated everybody, right?
Zach
no, that
Morris.
was Zach Morris.
You-
Come on.
Come on, get these characters
That I've
in
never
line.
seen ever in my life.
You just saw them on your phone.
So after the show ended and she was in Showgirls, she also has appeared in the critically acclaimed film Any Given Sunday and continued acting in films like The Curse of the Jade Scorpion, Africa, and she's been in TV shows like CSI Miami, The L Word, and New Girl, which I haven't seen an episode
All of those.
Wait,
of her.
what
in
is
New
she
Girl.
in New Girl?
I think she was probably like someone that was just like a
Someone's sister or something?
yeah, like she just like
Oh.
appeared on an episode.
Okay.
She married artist Greg Lauren. The couple has one son together, named Sky. I also found that so she's been in a bunch of different things. She what I thought was interesting and that I didn't know is that she was in a celebrity lawsuit.
Really?
Yes. And this made me dislike her because she was in a celebrity lawsuit with someone that I love. While dating Porky's actor Roger Wilson in 2000, Elizabeth became the subject of a massive $45 million lawsuit against the most notorious of Hollywood gangsters. Do you have a guess?
Wait, Hollywood gangsters?
Yeah.
Like The Godfather?
No, like just like huge Hollywood person.
Oh. What year was this?
2000.
Hold on.
Donald Trump.
No. Is he huge in Hollywood?
I think he's a Hollywood gangster, right?
I don't know. I
No.
hope not.
Let's not give him any more credit.
It doesn't sound like a good thing, though. Hollywood gangster?
Either way, I still love him and I will always love him. He's like one of my first husbands.
Who?
He's actually my sister-in-law's first husband. She says it to this day. She's like, he was my first husband. They weren't actually married.
Will you give us a hint? What was he in?
everything?
John Travolta.
Mel
No.
Gibson.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Why? What happened?
Wilson accused DiCaprio of setting his cronies on him after
On her?
on her after Wilson stood up for Elizabeth. So like no, he sent his cronies on her boyfriend.
Okay.
Because he stood up for her, who they had allegedly been harassing, to ditch her boyfriend and join them for dinner. A scenario worthy of Saved by the Bell itself. But eventually the lawsuit was dismissed.
I was about to, how is that worth $45 million just trying to get some girl to go to dinner with you and
like
the boyfriend stuck up for her?
Yeah, and then apparently he sent his like people to like
Yeah, I
Like,
wouldn't mess with Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, but I mean, if Leonardo DiCaprio wanted me to go to dinner
I would go.
and I had a boyfriend, or even, sorry, Mark, if I had Mark, I'd be like, sorry, I hope you understand.
He's definitely not on my list. There's a list. There's a list,
There
a
is a
celebrity
list
list.
too, but
I used to love Leonardo DiCaprio.
Everybody did. I mean, he
Before,
was
like, it was right after Titanic that he stopped becoming, he wasn't like my dream man anymore. But like when he was in Growing Pains, he was like 13 or 14, but so
he
was I. So I was like,
beautiful in
yes.
Growing Pains.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
what is this feeling?
So, she was on the Jimmy Fallon reunion.
Yes.
Um,
And she looked pretty similar. I mean, she had some crazy eyes, but
yeah, but she doesn't look like she is. She doesn't like.
look like she's 16.
No.
I think the only
But
person
she doesn't look like she's had a lot of. Well, actually,
done.
she does have. I saw some pictures. Her cheeks look a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So I think that she got like cheek implants or something, or
I
whatever
think-
they're called. But they're not like she didn't get a lot of plastic
Yeah,
surgery, but
not
she
like Lisa
definitely looks
Turtle
a little
style.
bit different. Yes.
I think the only person who still looks like they could be on the show is Mario.
Yes.
All the rest of them
Mario.
look older. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Mario. We did talk about that, didn't we?
Yep.
I did. I told you guys that.
But does he say Mario or
I don't
does he
think we
say
talked
Mario?
about that on the podcast. We talked about that in real life.
Oh, Mario and Dreddy.
Well, we were just talking about how people
Italians.
say Mario.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that? on the
We talked
podcast?
about it
I
on the
don't
podcast
remember.
because you mentioned an Italian guy.
My friend Mario, Campo Piano.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was in real life.
Oh, was that in real life? It's hard to tell
Hey, shout out Mario.
because this is our real life. So we're just living it.
So I did find out one other thing. So even though I loved that she was in Showgirls, she hated Showgirls. And she had a
Really?
really difficult relationship with it from the beginning. And she said, so it was supposed to be like the new Basic Instinct, and it never like lived up to that role. And she once described the film as humiliating.
Oh.
And she wrote a book called Ask Elizabeth, and she refused to even like talk about it by name in the book. And she eventually, like, for its 20th anniversary screening, she in 2015, she did go back, and she's like, everyone's like, oh well, she finally like made peace with it. So I thought that was kind of interesting because I had no idea that she hated it, but I
Yeah, I
can
thought
see
it was
how
pretty
it
good
would-
though.
Well, it's a cult classic,
Yeah.
so it's like some people love it.
It wasn't
some
like
people
great at the
hate it.
box office. But
Exactly.
She is worth $6 million.
Oh, that's higher than I expected.
Yeah.
Especially because she's not really doing anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so my last one is Kelly Kapowski, aka Tiffany Amber Thiessen. I like adored her. I think at any point in time, I was like, I wish that I was Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
I think that at one point people talked about her like
Is she the brunette?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. I think that at one point people were like, every guy wants to be with her and
Yeah.
every girl wants to be her.
Yes.
Like she was the like epitome.
Epitome
of
Very
Yeah.
pretty in the pictures that I
Very,
looked up
very
on the
pretty.
internet.
Well, and she was like a nice girl on the show.
And even after the show, like she had her own style, and she was kind of like, she played all these roles that she was kind of like a bad girl, but it was like to the point where you're like, I want to be that bad girl. Yeah, like I'll be her.
Yeah.
That's cool. But okay, so right after Saved by the Bell, she went straight into a starring role on Beverly Hills 90210.
Oh.
Right after Shannon Doherty. Right after she left.
Did she leave to go on to Charmed?
I think that there was more controversy
Oh, okay.
and then there was time in between, because I remember watching Charmed, like, and that was long after
I loved Charmed.
90210.
And I
Me
never
too.
watched 90210.
I'm going to get into more Charmed later
Really?
in a little second. But so right after Shannon left, Aaron Spelling was looking for someone to fill her void, you know? And so that's when he got Tiffany Amber Thiessen in there. Since then, she's been in Fastlane, which, did you guys watch that?
No.
It was pretty good.
Surprising.
What About Brian, which was also really good. And White Collar.
Oh, I did see White Collar.
That's a show.
It's a show on USA.
I never watched it.
And it has, what's his name? I love him.
He's
He's the most beautiful man.
he's very beautiful.
What is his name?
He looks like the guy from
He
the
was also
Grey, like the 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, he does.
It's not him, but
It's
he
not
looks
him.
like him.
The guy from 50 Shades of Grey is like Irish too, or Scottish. And then
Matt Bomer?
Matt,
Bomer?
yeah, Bomer. He's gay though, but it's okay.
All the
he's
beautiful
not
ones
that
are.
attractive.
He's very attractive. What are you talking about? Okay, so she
She's
was
been
in that.
Hallmark movies too, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been in like so many things. I didn't even go into like naming them all
I
because
just
there's
remember
so many.
that, like she and like Cameron.
She's still adorable.
Yeah,
she
she
looks
looks older,
I mean,
but,
she
like,
definitely
She looks like a little doll.
but she's very, very
Yeah.
like still beautiful. So she was also in a music video, Vertical Horizon's "You're a God." You know that song?
no.
Really?
Maybe. I don't know. Sing it.
I remember Vertical Horizons.
Oh
Oh, yeah. I know the song. See? I know it.
I had no idea that that's what this song was called.
And that's okay. Yeah.
Is this the only song that they had? Were they a one-hit wonder?
No, they
thing?
had a few more actually.
But I
Okay.
think that was like one of their
That's the
biggest
big
hits.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was in that. And then she was going to be in Charmed,
What?
but Aaron Spelling Aaron Spelling wanted her to be in Charmed, but she refused the role because she was waiting on another role that she thought was going to come in, and it didn't end up panning out. And so he had found Rose McGowan already, which I feel
Which was
like
later though.
yeah, it was
Like,
a later.
so-
she was
yeah.
going to be the third,
Yeah, the fourth sister.
yeah, the fourth sister. Sorry, fourth.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth.
Yeah, because they start
Yeah.
with the first
There's three,
three,
yeah.
and then
Oh,
Shannon
yeah.
Doherty
Yeah.
like dies, and
Yep.
spoiler.
And then so she was gonna like fill Shannon Doherty's
Yeah.
void twice, but then she didn't the second time. So Love Life. Did you know in 1992 she dated Brian Austin Green,
I don't know who that is.
who dates Megan Fox or is married to Megan Fox now?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're a strange couple. We could talk about them later. But they broke up after 2 years, and then she went through some really like hard stuff. She was dating a guy named David Strickland, who was in the Suddenly Susan show.
Oh yeah.
So, do you remember him? Like, apparently he had gone to Vegas he had struggled with like depression and pills and all drugs and everything. And he went to Vegas with Andy Dick
Okay.
and hired on a prostitute, brought her to his room. They did all these things, and then they did all these drugs, and then she left, and then he hung himself
Oh, Jesus.
while he was dating Tiffany Amber Thiessen,
Oh my god.
which is a terrible, like, can you even imagine dating someone who ends up doing, like, that would just be literally,
the worst.
oh, that would be awful. But a couple years later, she returned to love and got engaged to Richard Ruccolo, which is funny because all these guys, if you Google them, our listeners, Google all these men that she's dated. They're like they look exactly the same. Like they look like the same guy, and they're all far less attractive than she is. Like for sure, they're all solid 4s, and she is like a 10. It's crazy.
Weird.
Yeah. Sorry, Richard Ruccolo, that I said that. But then in 2005, she ended up marrying Brady Smith, and they have a son and a daughter, Harper and Holt. What a good name,
Cute.
right?
Holt.
Yeah.
That's a nice
I
name.
really like that.
Is it short for something?
I don't, it just said Holt.
I was just like in general thinking if it was like Holton.
That's Colt and Colton.
No, I know. I'm just trying to think of like what's the extended name, but it's fine. Sorry.
Holster.
I don't think that there is one. They would have put the extended name, I'm sure,
Yeah.
in the thing.
Yeah.
But someone could name their child Holton, and
That's what I would have called him.
Holster.
nickname.
Holster.
So she, at the end, I kind of go over the fact that she has a cult following. Like Justin Bieber wore a shirt with her on it when he went to the Much Music Video Awards in 2011, and he expressed his adoration for her. And then Chris Paul, who is an NBA player, publicly stated that he was a fan, and she sent him a signed photo for his 29th birthday.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
That's very cute.
And she's worth $10 million.
Oh. All right. Are you guys ready for the
Yeah, the
juice?
big one.
The big juice.
The big juice.
So Dustin Diamond, he played Screech, everyone's favorite nerd.
I'm just going to Google him for a second.
So you know what he looks like?
Yeah, just so I can follow along.
So Diamond has had a rougher life than I think any of the
He
other
looks rough.
ones.
Yeah.
Can I just say that?
Yes.
Did you find a picture of him like when he was in the show? Because he
Little
seemed
nerdy
very
thing.
like
Yeah.
sweet and
And he was like goofy and like everyone had like a special place
Yeah,
for
but
him.
like-
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
he looks pretty
picture-
normal in that picture. Actually, I've seen worse pictures of him
Yes.
where he's down, real down.
So he has appeared on Celebrity Fit Club and
I forgot about that show.
he was also in Celebrity Big Brother and Hulk Hogan's Championship Wrestling. So he did like his little reality TV circuit. So the first thing that happened with him is in 2006. In 2006, he stirred up controversy after he directed and released his own sex tape called Screeched, Saved by the Smell.
Stop!
He didn't do that.
Oh no!
I knew
There's
he
no
was
way.
in a porn or some sort of like sex thing. I actually thought that he got arrested for masturbating, but I think that was Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, in the movie theater.
But like I knew that it was some kind of sex thing, but Screeched, Saved by the Smell,
Saved
that makes me
by
wanna
the
vomit.
smell.
that like makes me want to vomit as well. But later he told Oprah that it wasn't him in the tape, but rather a lookalike. I don't believe it. I think it was definitely him.
Yeah, it's probably him.
I'm not going to do my research to find out, but if any of you listeners want to do that, just let us know.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any of that. So he also, well, I guess going back, he was on, was one of the originals to be in Good Morning Miss Bliss, and he stayed on for Saved by the Bell the college years, and then after that he revived his role of Screech for 6 seasons on the other spinoff Saved by the Bell the New Class.
Wow.
And he was an advisor to Principal Belding at Bayside High from 1993 to 2000, and I thought that was interesting. Sorry, I keep saying over and over again. The biggest controversy that he found himself in was in 2009. Well, I guess not the biggest controversy. In 2009, he also made controversy when he wrote a memoir called Behind the Bell, where he told salacious and unflattering stories about all of the other Saved by the Bell castmates.
Oh no.
And he admitted on Oprah that the book was ghostwritten and many portions of it were fabricated. And he tried to apologize to his coworkers, and
That's why he wasn't invited to
Yeah.
the Jimmy Fallon reunion.
he was on Dr. Oz, and he had a whole bunch of different things where he like is constantly trying to make up for it. And he was like, when he was on Dr. Oz, he offered an apology to his co-stars and said, "I will say, guys, I think you're fantastic. Working with you has been just one of the icons of my life, and I'm sorry that this has taken advantage of me. The book and other situations I'm sure we'll talk about here. I'm still loving you guys." So I think that he realized that he totally made a mistake, but he shouldn't have done that. And that's why everybody hates him, which is why he wasn't on Jimmy Fallon.
He also stabbed a guy.
Can I get to it?
I thought
Are
you
allowed to...
I thought you were like wrapping it up and shit. Sorry.
No.
He
said
fucking
this is
stabbed a guy in Wisconsin.
You don't even know what the show is.
It sounded like you were wrapping it up and you're like, oh,
Well,
this
she
is the
said-
biggest controversy.
And then she
you,
goes,
like,
"Wait,
fucking-
this isn't the biggest controversy. This is just a controversy."
This is a big
I'm sorry, I was
controversy.
trying to follow. I don't know any of these people.
Stop the Google over there. Anyway, for all of you guys that just got spoiled. Anyway, there's a lot of controversy about that. Everybody hates him. That's why he wasn't on Jimmy Fallon. Mm-hmm. And then the biggest controversy was in 2014. He was at a bar in Wisconsin, and it was Christmas Day.
Christmas Day?
Christmas Day. Okay, let's set the picture. He's at a bar with his girlfriend, and he said that this guy was like talking to his girlfriend, and he went over there to like break it up or whatever, and there was a his girlfriend's name was Amanda Schutz, and they were inside the bar, and a group of intoxicated people started behaving in a rude and insulting manner. And he was like, oh, shit, there's going to be a brawl, is what he said later. He said he turned to close his account and get their coats, but when he looked back, his girlfriend was bleeding and 2 men were holding her hair.
What?
Diamond said he moved toward his girlfriend when a man grabbed him. Diamond said he was just like really angry and doesn't really remember what happened, and he thinks he might have stabbed the guy with a pin. So then he gets arrested for stabbing this guy with a pin. They find out that he actually stabbed him with a knife that he was carrying, and he so he's like in this like bar brawl or whatever, and stabs a dude and with a knife, like no big deal, in a bar on Christmas. I'm just gonna keep bringing that back up. And later he said that he did not intentionally stab the individual in the bar, but that chaos broke out and people were grabbing at him, and that he swung his arms to break free.
With a knife in it.
I guess so. The man identified as the stabbing victim told police he didn't see a knife or initially feel being cut. And the police said the wound was not life-threatening. So then he went to, like, they go back and he goes to trial, and he said in the court, he said, I want it to be clear that this situation will not be repeated again, and it was the single most terrifying experience of my entire life, is what he told them. Judge Paul Malloy sentenced him to 120 days in jail and ordered him to pay more than $1,000 in restitution to, quote, send a message to the community that we're just not going to live like this. A jury found the actor not guilty of a felony count, but convicted him on 2 misdemeanor charges in connection with the brawl. The Wisconsin jury determined that Diamond did not recklessly endanger safety, but he carried a concealed weapon and behaved in a disorderly manner.
Just $1,000?
I said more than $1,000.
Oh, more than $1,000.
But that means that it might be $1,001.
That's crazy.
It occurred at the Grand Avenue Saloon in Port Washington, Wisconsin, if anybody wants to go there.
Is that near where you live? Oh.
That's right around the corner. She's like, I go there every Christmas.
Yeah, that's my Christmas. I was
there. I didn't know who he was, but I was there.
I was like, this sounds vaguely familiar to something that's happened in my hometown.
So Taylor, earlier when we were talking about this, she was like, I think he killed a guy. He didn't actually kill him. He just stabbed him, but like still. So he was arrested in 2016 and was put on 15 months of probation. He was later arrested after testing positive for using the painkiller oxycodone without a doctor's prescription, a violation of the conditions of his release. And then he just spent 2 more days in Wisconsin County Jail for violating his probation. And then there hasn't really been much about him since then. I think that he just is trying to like live under the radar. Since he
it's probably a good idea.
And then I have 2 bonus people really quick.
He's worth $500,000.
Oh, just like Lisa Turtle.
Yep, him and Lisa.
They were meant to be together.
They really were.
I have 2 bonus people.
Yeah. Belding.
Yep.
What happened to him?
Okay.
I did see him in the reunion. He looked like a large man.
Yeah, he gained some weight. So Belding his real name is Dennis Haskins. He was the principal of the show.
Okay.
And he's found continuous work in several made-for-TV movies and series like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Oh yeah.
Robot Chicken, and Hot in Cleveland.
Who is he in It's Always Sunny?
I don't know.
Oh.
I think just a random.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
like
think
just
he's
an
just like
extra.
been on. Yeah. And then he was on Hot in Cleveland, which I think he was like a
Yeah.
romance person on there. He has a number of projects in development currently. And in 2009, this is my favorite part. In 2009, he released his first music album, Karaoke with Your Favorite Principal Dennis,
Stop it.
a collection of cover songs. He also made special appearances as an opening act for rapper Action Bronson. And he was also he revived Mr. Belding on an episode of The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
He was like an underdog favorite, I feel like. He was
Yeah.
always like, he was the principal, but then he was like your best friend too.
Yeah, everybody loves him. And then I have one
It's interesting
more.
that a couple of them have like dug back to what made them
Yeah.
Famous.
It's like the one thing
Later
in
on.
their career that has been famous. So then they're like, okay, I need to use this to my advantage.
like that just sounds so sad.
But also, like,
whatever works.
those of us who are super nostalgic,
work?
like, love it.
Yeah. I mean, what's his
Karaoke
name is
with
still.
your Principal Dennis?
Well, that's his name is Dennis. So.
What's his name?
Dennis, hold on.
Rodman.
Dennis Haskins.
He's worth 300,000.
Okay.
That ain't bad.
And then I'm going to just cover really quickly Ed Alonzo. He played Max, who is the owner of the Max,
Oh.
which is the like local hangout that they went to. It was like a restaurant that they went to like every single day.
Does he have some crazy stuff?
No.
Oh.
But he was a magician by trade. And if you remember the show, he would do like tricks.
Yeah.
And he would like come out into the restaurant and like do little things as a magician. And he continued acting in episodes of Murphy Brown, How I Met Your Mother, and Modern Family. What I thought was cool is he was slated to be a part of Michael Jackson's This Is It concerts in London, performing tricks on stage. But Michael Jackson died before the gigs could happen.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But that goes back to the Jackson thing that we were talking about. So,
Wow. This really took me back.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sad that Mandy hasn't seen Saved by the Bell. And I can't believe that I kind of chose this because literally we talked about it and you're
Yeah.
like, why Saved by the Bell? And I was
thought
like,
it was
because
random.
literally every person on this planet has seen it.
Except
and then
for
we get
Mandy.
it, and of course the one person in our podcast has
Sorry.
not, and it's crazy to me.
I want to know, can you, as listeners, email us if you have not seen Saved by the Bell?
Yeah, I'm
I
really
wanna
thoroughly
know-
interested.
yeah.
Genuinely.
I want to know, like, how many people haven't seen it or, like, know who we're talking about
Yeah.
or anything. So,
I guess
learned
a
so
lot of
much.
our maybe our younger listeners who don't, I mean, nowadays they don't have cable, they have Netflix and they have Hulu and they have, all these things, and they wouldn't choose to watch it. But as a child and adolescent, it was what was on TV when I turned it on. So
Yeah.
that's how I ended up seeing it.
I watched it every morning.
So maybe our younger listeners
Might not know.
might not know.
Or people like Mandy who didn't grow up with cable.
True that.
Yep. Who like chopping wood and riding their horses down to the quarry.
Oh,
I'm from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
we're
We
basically
did have
like
a quarry where everyone snuck in to swim.
Oh my gosh.
What?
You guys are like the Flintstones.
Oh my gosh,
my
that's so weird that you
God.
said that. Let me tell you why. Because just an hour ago, we were at Home Depot for something and we're walking around and I'm like, I don't know why, but the Flints Flintstone, meet the Flintstone.
We're
It's
the modern Stone Age family.
yeah, and
Not
it was
that I know that.
stuck in my head
Weird.
an hour ago, and I haven't thought of the Flintstones or that theme song for like 20 years.
Wow.
That's so strange that you even brought that up.
That's funny. Mandy is the Flintstone. Oh,
Twilight
I
Zone.
used to watch Twilight Zone.
I love Twilight
Mark
Zone.
Paul Gosselaar was in Twilight Zone in an
What?
episode. When he was a kid. I actually watched it not too long ago. It was really good. We
That's
should watch
funny.
it, actually.
Okay.
Right
Well,
after we watch the entire
series.
series of.
You guys pray for me.
It's going to be so fun.
Yeah, so this has been fun. I like this.
Yeah, this has been a pretty long episode, actually.
Sorry.
We should probably
Wrap it up.
get out of here.
Wrap it up like 2018.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, I like this. Yes.
We didn't even write
this.
that. I like this.
That's all I had to contribute for the last 45 minutes. So.
Sorry.
All right, guys. So we're just going to cut it short
Yeah,
here.
let's
Okay.
go.
We
Long story
will.
long.
See you next Tuesday.